Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, a vibrant city full of life and adventure, but I don't like it. In this video, I'm going to describe the pros and cons to Bangkok, whether you are coming to live here or just on holiday. This video may give you some extra insight. So let's dive in. Firstly, let's just appreciate how large Bangkok is. Granted, it's a capital city, and most of the action happens within the kind of Sukhumvit area, which most of the tourists go to, which in itself is still quite big. I guess if you're a city person, you'll get on with this just fine. But this, as well as the other points that I raised in this video, the pros and the cons, they are just my opinion. They're not wrong, they're not right, it's just how I feel, so don't hate me. With Bangkok being such a large city, it almost reminds me of London. So with it being so busy, I feel like a lot of people just kind of close into their own bubble. There's a big social disconnect. And take trains, for example, you go on there and everyone is heads down on their phone, and a lot of people just want to get on with their day, get on with their work, or get to and from work and just get home. And as you can see behind me, there is one point about it being crowded, and that is, of course, it's gonna be busy and make the traffic insane. Traffic in Bangkok, even at a good time, not even rush hour, is very, very busy. If you want to get from one place to another, you just have to factor in that you're going to have to add a little bit more time because the traffic might be terrible. It suddenly just cleared up. If you want to get to somewhere on time, you're probably going to be having to get a motorbike taxi. Now, let me just tell you, if you've ever gotten a motorbike taxi here in Bangkok before, you know it is a death-defying experience. They can weave in between cars with or millimeter precision without hitting their handlebars, and sometimes if your legs are a little bit too flayed out, then yeah, you might have a knee just get popped on the side of a car, who knows. So when it comes to getting around here in Bangkok, if you want to be on time, you've got to get a motorbike taxi, which could be death-defying, or if you want comfort, then you get a taxi, but a taxi just may take you a little bit longer. So with how large Bangkok is, and then how busy the traffic is, getting from one place to another, even if it's a 20-minute or 30-minute journey, can sometimes take like an hour, which, you know, come on, time is money. Now, on a lighter note, there is a positive to Bangkok, and that is that it's very central. Getting to other places in Thailand is really easy. It's got 2 airports, it's got links in terms of coaches, taxis to everywhere in Thailand. Also, being the capital, there is so much going on here, from events to shopping to parties, you name it, Bangkok has it. For me personally, it would actually make sense for me to move here. I am a part YouTuber, so in terms of content, events, like networking, also for B-roll as well, it's better. There is a lot of kind of pros for me moving here, but I am a beach lover. I live in Pattaya and I love the weather there, but that's a whole different video. But Bangkok being as central as it is definitely a pro. It's just not easy getting in it. Oh God, the things I do. I asked for something sweet and she gave me Royal Jasmine Yuzu Peach, so first time having it. Yeah, it's actually not bad. It's like a peach juice drink. And let's talk about another positive point about Bangkok, and that is the fact that you can network very well here. If you're a solo backpacker and you want to network and make new friends, there is so many hostels and so many great places to meet people. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to meet business, like-minded people, there is so many events happening. There are so many co-working spaces where people are a lot more social. Even for me, like YouTubing, like there is so many other YouTubers here which I could potentially connect with if I lived here. So Bangkok, I mean, I always kind of resort back to this same old thing, but you know, it's a central place, it's the capital. So when it comes to connecting and building connections with people, whatever that may be for, it does do well. Now I want to hear your comments. Have you been to Bangkok before? Do you live here? What's your opinion of this place? Am I speaking complete nonsense? Probably. Or even, which city is your favourite? Mine personally is Pattaya. I think it's cheap, the weather's great, the beaches are nice, and I'm a beach bum, so I can't deny. Well, it seems here in Central World, we are all for the Christmas, apparently, on November the 9th. It always amazes me, the transition from Halloween to Christmas is like that. Anyway, on to my next point, which is accommodation. Now, accommodation here in Bangkok can vary, but in terms of comparing it to like Chiang Mai, Pattaya, even the likes of Phuket, it can be very expensive. Now, I say expensive in terms of if you're wanting to live close to the action, let's say Sukhumvit area, the kind of like northwestish Sukhumvit area, then yeah, you may be paying at the minimum 15,000 baht a month for rent. Now, of course, some people get a lot better deals than this, and they are out there, but they are few and far between in comparison to other places. If you want a reasonably priced apartment, so let's say 13,000, 12,000, 11,000 baht, then you may be staying 20 or 30 minutes out of the Sukhumvit area or kind of in the kind of southeast region. But when you put it in perspective of staying in a capital city for that much, it is very cheap. My next point being the weather. And the weather in Bangkok, yes, it's okay, but typically even on really hot and sunny days, it's generally quite cloudy. And it's no myth that Bangkok has really bad air pollution. Not all times around the year, but there is certain points of the year where it can get to quite hazardous levels. And with the fact that Bangkok is quite a central city, there is a lot of very high-rise buildings. So sometimes, even when the sun is out, it's not even going to touch you because you are in the shade with the amount of high buildings around you. Unless you're on some rooftop somewhere, sunbathing. Now, with the high-rise buildings and it very, very humid in Bangkok, you have the smell of the sewers and the smell of fumes and general just cars, tuk-tuks, motorbikes. The general smell of Bangkok never really changes and it's not great. And when the weather gets really bad and really rainy, Bangkok, of course, it floods. Every place you go in Thailand will probably flood just due to the volume of rain which happens. But Bangkok has a bad sewerage system, so essentially when it rains, the water fills up, the sewage kind of comes up, and then everything dries. When the sun comes out, you can imagine it starts to get smelly kind of everywhere. But that does go for a lot of cities in Thailand. Phuket and Pattaya, you know, they are the same, but Bangkok I just feel is a little bit worse just because of how kind of condensed it is and how humid it is here. Just makes those smells enhance a bit. Got ourselves some fried pork and I think black bell pepper and rice. So let's tuck it. Wow. And let's get on to another positive point about Bangkok, and that is dating. Compared to other popular places in Thailand, for example Pattaya, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Bangkok has the highest number of like just normal working girls. So if you're after coming to Thailand to meet just a traditional girl who's maybe working a normal, like a corporate job or so, then your chances are quite high in Bangkok. If you're in another part of Thailand, let's say Pattaya, you have a very high chance of bumping into a normal girl when you find out there's a chance she's a freelancer. Trust me, not everyone, but there's just in terms of ratios and more commonly, you will get normal girls in Bangkok. Now when it comes to nightlife, that's a whole different kettle of fish. You go to the likes of Pattaya, Nightlife, 95% of the women there are freelancers, so dodging them is quite hard. Essentially meeting a girl that's not been either on the streets or in the bars is going to be way more likely in Bangkok than anywhere else in Thailand, and I'm talking like the popular touristy kind of destinations, not when you go to like Udon Thani or something like that. So, following on from dating, in Bangkok you kind of have everything. You've got the buckets of Khaosan for really cheap, you've got go-go bars, you've got clubs, you've got bars, you've got high-end exclusive clubs where the VIPs will be 25,000 baht just to sit down. So Bangkok has everything. But in general, unless you're in Khaosan Road, the nightlife here is pretty expensive. Now compare it back to the West, and yes, it is still kind of cheap. But in terms of Thailand in general, Bangkok is up there being quite expensive. Nightlife is always accessible though. The bars, the clubs, they are open every day of the week. It could be a Monday night, a Wednesday night, it does not matter. They are there, they are open, they are ready to take your money. But I guess the positive point about this is the nightlife in Bangkok is just a variety. If you want those high-end clubs, they're there. If you want that cheap backpacker experience, Khaosan Road is there. It does have everything. know this isn't really a point, but it's kind of an aside, but it really annoyed me. The last 2 times I've been to Bangkok, this has come true. Whereas you'll be walking around and you'll see just a normal looking building that looks like either like a hotel or just some apartments, and inside there'll be a shopping mall, some bars, a rooftop bar. There'll be so much in there, but you just don't know about it. The advertisement is just not there. So my point being is you kind of have to rely on either word of mouth or Google to find things to do. You could be standing next to a completely plain building and there'll be a nightclub inside. I feel like a lot of people could get way more out of their trips to Bangkok if the advertisements of some of these places would be just a little bit better. I am back now in the glorious Pattaya. My little Bangkok trip is over, but I have one more thing to tell you. The reason why I was in Bangkok, because I was filming a different video. I was staying at the worst rated hostel and one of the best rated hostels in Bangkok. And when I say worst rated, yeah, I mean worst rated. So if you want to see that video, you gotta click here. Thanks for watching.